And now, the time fight fans all across the globe have been waiting for. It's the MTMV main card with your man, the myth, the legend, and the producer today, the voice. In the opposite corner, my mano e mano, my verbal sparring partner, none other than Wildress Ruffin.
Ah, voice, we made it. If only they knew what it takes behind the scenes to get these things done. But my amazing producer today is doing an incredible job. But it's smoke o'clock, voice.
Yes, sir.
Tuesday. It's 7:15 Eastern Standard Time, 6:15 Central Standard Time, and all the other standard times where you at 15 minutes. Well, 28 minutes.
Yeah, little past smoke o'clock today.
It's time for the main card. We got a great show today. Let's not even make people wait. We made them wait long enough, boys. Let's get into these KOs and low blows.
Let's do it.
Now, boys, the combat sports world got a nice taste of what NBA goes through with their Mount Rushmore conversation when Khabib, arguably one of the sport's greatest fighters, listed his top 15 GOAT list, and he included actually almost 20 fighters, boys.
It wasn't almost. It was 20.
Among those who are not listed on that list, Conor McGregor. Boys, what did you think about Khabib's list? What were the biggest misses? And who did you feel was ranked maybe a little bit lower than they should have?
Okay. You're going to have to come back to me on some of those. So first question was, what do I think of the list?
Yeah, what did you think of the list?
The first thought that I had regarding the list was how great Khabib is. And I say that because of the 15 slots that he had, where he doubled up on 5 of them, making 20 people. None of them were him. Not one of those people on the list was him. And that's huge because, as you stated, he's arguably the best to ever do it. The second thing that I noticed about the list, and I was like, that is really interesting. And it shows his ability to be humble and to be honest. He had John Jones ranked number 1B with Fatal. It's like, wow. Knowing that DC is your boy, that's your man. Y'all sweated and bled together and all kinds of stuff. But you put John Jones as 1B. That says a lot too. And third thing was he had his boys in there because he had DC ranked fairly high. He had Kane, I think, a little higher than he should have been. In hindsight, it's 2020. We forget about C-level Kane and some of the things that he did, but his fall off was so precipitous that it kind of shapes things a little bit differently for me in looking at Kane's legacy. So that's what I thought of the list.
What did you think about Conor McGregor's omission from the list? Because that was a big conversation also.
I think it was fair. Conor's not an all-time great. Conor is great for business, and Conor has done some phenomenal things, but he shouldn't be in the top 20. Should not.
That's a fair assessment. It was a lot of great. The list was very detailed. I just loved how Khabib literally did his own thing. He was like, okay, this is top 15, but there's a 1A and 1B. There's a 4A and 4B, and so forth and so on. He made sure his list was exactly what he wanted, and I can respect that. Everybody has their own list, and it's fine. It's going to be something people are going to talk about, and I think that's literally what he wanted to do. So he got his response. Sean O'Malley had a great response also, but it's not safe for this show, so I won't say what that is. Now, going from Khabib's GOAT to your GOAT, your favorite fighter, voice, he's back.
Yeah, Nate Diaz, baby.
Jake Paul is back in action on August 5th in an 8-round bout against what I guess we can call a new rival in Nate Diaz. Now, the bout is going to be contested at 185 and is contracted for 8 rounds with 10-ounce gloves. Now, for Diaz, this is going to be literally his first non-UFC bout since 2018. The two of them had literally gone back and forth for months. Their teams, if you remember famously, during the Anderson Silva bout, got into a scuffle backstage, and if I'm not mistaken, Nate was ready to put hands on, if he didn't, on Paul's father.
So, yeah, he slapped up his father.
So, boys, what do you think about this bout coming up, and what should we expect from? I don't even know what to call it. What should we expect from this bout, boys?
We should expect crossover fighting and boxing specifically. Crossover boxing in its finest fashion. This is more about the lead up to the fight than anything else. Expect Jake to say some crazy, outlandish things that just make him look infantile and idiotic, and expect Nate to be the gangster that he is, and tell him to shut up, smack up some more people in his camp, and dare them to do something differently about it. Hopefully there's not a complete breakdown in any of these, because it could be we remember what happened with Nate and Conor in the press conference of the second fight. The monster and cans and the waters that were being thrown all over the place. So hopefully there's not a complete breakdown like that. But yeah, expect to see a lot of build-up to the fight. It will be promoted very well as far as what happens in the ring. Nate probably weighs 180 pounds right now. So he being Paul went back to the drawing board and said, let me find somebody that I should be able to beat and fight him, because I fought a boxer and that did not work out the way that I thought that it would. I thought I was ready. I wasn't. So let me go fight some more MMA guys and make this money.
So when, I know previously we had talked about Jake's credibility, and other people have also until his recent loss. Does him going back to actually fight Nate Diaz, does that take even more away from his credibility, or does it kind of maintain? Or, I mean, what does this really do for Jake Paul?
It does not do anything as far as his credibility is concerned, because the whole time he's been fighting to gain some level of credibility. So you can't lose what you don't have. Did some people maybe give him a bit more credibility because he did get in there with Fury? Maybe. But if he's going to fight Fury again, he needs some work. And what better way to get work than, again, a former mixed martial artist, which he's been running through. One thing that Nate has that no one else that he's faced to this point has been cachet. Like, to quote Dana, or I should say to flip the quote on Dana, neither Nick or Nate Diaz have nicknames, but Nate's should be the needle mover, because many years ago, Dana said that he did not move the needle, which he stepped back, didn't fight for a long time. When he came in, he showed how much he moved the needle, because that's when he really leaped into superstardom. So that's something that you're going to have in this fight that you haven't had. Tyron, love him, but he was one of the most hated champions in UFC history. Ben Askren, he's cool, but nobody's tuning in to see him fight. Whereas Nate is a part of the Nate is a part of the Nick Diaz army, and they show up to support their own. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And, of course, Nate has trained for years with Andre Ward's trainer. So it's not like he doesn't have a boxing background and trained with Andre Ward when he was in his prime. But Tyron also has trained with Wildcard for over a decade. So, and we see how that happened. But Tyron is not Nate, and Nate is not Tyron. I can't wait to see it.
Well, it's definitely going to be a great fight. Something to look forward to, because I know there's social media back and forth and media back and forth. Overall is going to be a show in itself. But there is one thing. There's already a needle mover in combat sports. His name is Roman Reigns. He's in WWE. But that's fine. I know that you're not privy to the greatest sport ever, but that's fine. Now, when we come back from a quick break from Ozell Brand, we got some stuff to get into. We got a part 2 as Liz Carmouche gets back into it. Also, the Voices marquee matchup this week. The interim bantamweight title bout is this week. Don't do the record scratch. And last but not least, it doesn't get any better than this. Can you guess what that is? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
It's not just about the love of the game. It's about dedication and commitment through the process and the patience to endure. There's joy in reaching your goals and peace in knowing you've done all you're supposed to do. Ozell Brand. It's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle.
That Ozell Brand commercial just does something to you. Now, I know y'all know all the stories Voice tells about. He walks around in his Voice Leroy's and he got the glow all day, all week, every week. He got the glow right now, as you can see. So definitely make sure you get you some Ozell so you can have the glow like the Voice. Now, Voice, let's get into it. Now, since winning her first championship, Liz Carmouche has not had much time to reflect on the win and what it means to her. So after becoming the Bellator Women's Flyweight World Champion last April against Juliana Velasquez, she's literally turned around, successfully defended again in the rematch against Juliana, and will now have her second title defense 1 year later against a woman that she had previously defeated in what was actually both of their promotional debuts. This is going to be Deanna Bennett, actually Philly's own. Let me put that out there. This is going to be actually taking place live from the Neil S. Blaisdell Arena in Honolulu, Hawaii. Now, while Liz is not looking past Bennett, she also doesn't believe that there's been much change since their first encounter. Liz recently stated during the media scrum, "I haven't seen any growth from her, but if there's one thing I've learned in facing opponents, it's just because they perform at the same level, they rise to the occasion when they come to face me. And sometimes they see things that I've done or things they've done incorrectly, and they've got a completely different game plan. I've got things that I want to work on, but I'm definitely prepared for the idea that she's going to come out as a new fighter." She later went on to say that she just wanted to see more fresh faces. She said, "I think there are so many women that are skilled in Bellator that are making their way through the ranks and showing their ability to face and overcome adversity, to be flashy and show off their skill sets. And I wanted an opportunity to see these new faces and try something new and a new style, but it does not change the goal ahead." Now, Liz feels how she wants to feel, but if you actually look at it, Bennett has been undefeated since her first encounter, going 3-0 with her last win August 12th when she was awarded a unanimous decision over Justine Kish in Bellator 284. So, Voice, I want to get your thoughts. What do you think about Liz's statement as far as literally Deanna not being any different than their first bout and not really expecting much different as far as what she feels like the outcome is? What are your thoughts on that? And I want to first ask Osco on this because Liz has been around for a very long time. She literally was in the first UFC bout, and this is her first world title reign. So what do you think about that in her statements recently?
As far as the no different statement, I haven't followed Deanna Bennett closely enough to know if there have been new wrinkles in her game. the fact that she's been able to be undefeated outside of that first bout with Liz says a lot, because she could have been defeated, and for Bennett, kind of like Carmouche a little bit, this is where she's seen the most success. The most success that she's seen has been in Bellator, because that was something that you alluded to, that Carmouche has been around the world. She was in Strikeforce before, and she wasn't champion. She was the first to step in the octagon, first lady to step in the octagon when she faced off against Ronda Rousey in her heyday and got armbarred, not as swiftly as others, because she actually almost beat Ronda. She had a nice backpack on her and a rear naked choke, but she was able to free herself. So again, she's been around for a long time. She fought for the bantamweight title. She fought for the flyweight title against Bullet Shevchenko in a very forgettable match, and then she left, and now she's been champion. So to say that there's no change, now one thing I'll talk about as far as the change is concerned, when Liz left the UFC, she started stopping people again. 12 out of her 18 wins are stoppages. None of them were in the UFC, but she has stopped 3 of her last 5 fights. So it's going to be interesting to see what kinds of things both of the women bring to the table. They're both well-rounded fighters. The biggest difference is the additional 2 rounds. Will that be to Bennett's benefit? We'll see.
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider. One thing that you have to remember is Bennett has 9 wins by decisions. That literally accounts for about 69% of her career total wins. For Liz, out of her 7 losses, 5 have come and gone the distance. So it's definitely something to look out for. If Bennett can take her the distance, that it's literally anybody's bout at that point. But if it doesn't go the distance, we'll know why. Now, this week's Voices marquee matchup. I'm excited for this one. It's going to see Ray the Taz Mexican Devil Borg make his Bellator MMA debut against a former bantamweight world champion, the Typhoon. Voice, tell us why this is your marquee matchup and what should we be looking for?
Oh, man. This is the Voices marquee matchup because this is really a fight that I want to see. There's so many questions that are out there that will be answered when these 2 men step inside the cage. You have, being undefeated since he left the UFC, Ray Borg, who had, his story is well published. The man was probably worse damaged by the Dolly attack by Conor McGregor. His eyes and stuff were all messed up, couldn't fight for a while. His child was near death while all this was going on. They battled back through that as a family. Then he started dealing with some issues himself where he was having trouble making weight, which is what caused him to leave the UFC. That, and then plus just some other health issues of his own. So, he left the UFC. He's been undefeated since he left the UFC, fighting under Khabib's banner, Eagle FC, which is interesting, seeing as all the stuff went down with him, all behind Khabib. So that's crazy in and of itself. But he's been fighting under Eagle FC. He's been undefeated, and he's been doing well. He lost to Demetrius Johnson, and after that, he ran off 2 wins in a row before losing at 135. Now, Horiguchi is getting, and that's what makes this really interesting. Outside, when that wasn't a Bellator card. If I'm not mistaken, this may be the first flyweight fight in Bellator for men. Wow. We know about the women's division that's been around for a while, but for men, not so much. This is something that Horiguchi was pushing for after the Ryzen versus Bellator bout that took place on New Year's Eve. He was like, hey, this is my weight class. I need to fight here. And he's getting a fight in the weight class that he has been most dominant at. He is a former champion twice over for Bellator as well as for Ryzen, but he's really made his name fighting at flyweight, fighting Demetrius Johnson, who we talked about Borg also fighting and losing to. That's when DJ hit that Wonder Bar on him. Oh my goodness, it was ridiculous. And he stopped Horiguchi with like 1 second left in the fight. Anyway, DJ is the man. One thing that's really good for the promotion, speaking of Ryzen and Bellator and their symbiotic relationship, is that Horiguchi is Japanese. This takes place in Hawaii, which has a great big Japanese population. And it's a nice precursor to their next joint venture together, because Scott said that when they do it again, being under the Bellator banner, that Hawaii would be a good spot to do it in. So this is a nice little precursor to that. Horiguchi has looked good at 125. He's looked good since coming out of the bantamweight Grand Prix. So this is really going to be big for Borg. No pun intended. It's going to be big for him, because if he can be victorious and dominant against someone who, many people consider one of the best at that weight class, that's going to play very well for him. Will there be more 125 fights? I doubt it, but it's a nice something to have, something that kind of mixes things up. And Bellator's been doing a lot of that lately, having a super fight in June, and now this 125 fight.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually going to be a really great card, and that's not even the main event of the card. The main event is actually what we're going to be talking about next. And with this one, if Patchy Mix has his way, his interim bantamweight title bout against Rufian Super Stotts is going to go viral, and it's going to be one of the biggest moments of his career. He recently stated this. Now, the two fighters are going to be facing one another in the main event of Bellator 295. Of course, that's going to be taking place Saturday, April 22nd. That's going to also be in the same arena. Now, during an interview with Sportskeeda, Mick stated recently, he said, "I'm glad it's him, because, I want that on my record. I want to win over him on my record, and I want to finish over him on my record. I'm coming to either knock or submit him. I'll be tagged all over Showtime, World Star, and everything else next Saturday after I strangle him. So just look out for me. Hashtag my name next Saturday night, and I'll be all over the place, because I'm a sensational moment, and I'm coming for this guy's neck." Now, Super, meanwhile, I really don't think he has that same focus. Super is literally about the money and his family. So he's defending the interim title since winning it, and he's literally looking more towards that $1 million cash purse and cementing the legacy for himself. He said, "I know I'm coming in there with another hungry fighter, and I have to come and fight. And, that's my mindset right now. Like, the prize money is cool and the accomplishments, I've done all that before, but I have to be present in the moment. I feel like everything is coming full circle now. All of my hard work, my dedication is starting to look like it's really paying off. And I've always kind of gotten accolades racked up by wins and accomplishments, but now it seems like everything is paying off, and I'm at the top of my game for me and my family." Boys, when you talk to them during the media scrum, it seems they're literally in two different places mentally. So it seems like Mix is literally just looking for a big moment. Stotts is looking to solidify himself. What are your thoughts on those two different mindsets coming in, and what do you feel like we should expect from this bout?
It makes sense. It makes sense for Mix to have the attitude that he has. He is the hunter. And not only is he the hunter, he has been in this position before. This is not the first time that he's fought for the championship. When we spoke about Kyoji Horiguchi being the Bellator champion, when he relinquished his title due to an injury and not wanting to hold up the division. Juan Archuleta and Patchy Mix fought each other for the vacant title, and it was a nice back and forth fight. I want to say that it was like 49-46 for Archuleta, but Mix showed that, you know, he showed well when he was in there. He just did not have the experience necessary to shine the way that he wanted to in that position. You know, so I'll say this though about I'm coming for his neck, I'm gonna knock him out, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. That's kind of out of character. And when people start talking out of character, that gives a reason for pause in my book. So let's see how this works. But should he be hype? Should he be on fire? Yeah, he should, because this is the biggest opportunity for him, where with Stotts, he's cementing himself as a Bellator mainstay going forward simply by what he's done in this tournament. Number one, he's not lost under the Bellator banner. That's one. Two, he beat some notable people. Magomedov, former champ Juan Archuleta, who Mix couldn't beat, and had a star-making foil in Danny Sabatello. So he's cemented himself. He's the champion. He's been carrying the championship belt for the last two fights, and he is carrying himself as such. Now, he talked big head against Sabatello, but he's already said he's got a lot of respect for Mix, and they've trained together before in the past too. So, you know, he's got respect for him. He's not talking big. That may be why he's not talking big. Maybe Mix got the better of him when they were training. I don't know. But like I said, Mix talking the way he's talking is like, you know, we'll see. I mean, hey, he did hand Gallagher his first loss. He did beat Nurmagomedov, and he stopped both of those. I knew he was a problem when he beat Kyoji Horiguchi. I can't wait to see what happens in this, because I feel like Mix may even be favored in this fight. It's going to be a good fight.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I was going to call him Sabatello, that's definitely not his name. The Nigerian Raufeon Stotts. One thing he has going for him is that he has both striking and grappling, whereas Mix is he's primarily a grappler. So we'll see how things go. See if he's able to keep it upright, because if this takes place on the ground for the most part, that does not bode well for Stotts.
Yeah, like you said it. You know, since his loss to Archuleta, Mix has won 4 straight, but Super, on the other hand, has been on an 11-fight win streak since 2017, and amongst those wins was a knockout against Archuleta. So it's going to be interesting to see literally how that plays out, and hopefully all that talking leads up to something, because if not, those post-fight presses are going to be really uncomfortable. Now, from one trash-talking group to possibly the kings of the lightweight trash-talking division, finally, after all the back and forth on social media, all the talking, Voice, it doesn't get any better than this. I don't feel like that. But that's the name of this weekend's big bout between Gervonta Tank Davis and Ryan King Rai Garcia. This is going to be a catchweight fight Saturday night between the two lightweight divisions, probably most polarizing fighters. Now, the highly anticipated bout, which is going to be taking place in the T-Mobile Arena, has literally had its share of ups and downs, extra clauses such as the 10-pound rehydration clause, and most recently a social media agreement to wager their purses for the winner. Now, through it all, both of these fighters have been undefeated, and they've kind of come with more questions than answers, depending on you ask. But their goal Saturday is literally to solidify who is best in this 12-round bout. Now, the bout literally has not even taken place, but it's becoming so intense that Davis, who usually has his family ringside, stated that his family is going to be staying home because of what he expects to be a war with Garcia. He recently stated, "No, I will not bring my family there. Even my mom has got to stay home. My mom, she's like, I'm tough, but nah, it can get ugly on both sides. This is a 50-50 fight, so I gotta lock all the way in." Now, one person who's hoping for fireworks and a Ryan Garcia win, Oscar De La Hoya. Now, this is because it would ultimately cause an immediate rematch clause to take place with a win by Garcia, but it would also be a huge win for De La Hoya and Golden Boy because they get to say, aha, we did it. So, Voice, what do you think about the big fight taking place this weekend that does not get any better than this? What should we expect? What do you think about the back and forth, and what are we looking for?
Well, as far as what to expect in this fight, you should expect fireworks. You should expect both men to come out guns blazing and coming after one another. You spoke about the weight clause. Well, Ryan Garcia said he doesn't really think it's going to be a problem. He's like, I don't gain that much weight after weigh-ins, and he pretty much walks around at 148. So he doesn't think that that's going to be an issue. However, this is something that Tank put in place because he said, yeah, I want to make sure it's fair. He's got the height advantage and the size advantage, so I want to make sure it's fair. The fact that he's concerned about the fairness, and he's putting all these other things in place, saying to his family, stay home because he believes it's going to be a war. That says a lot about the mental state of a fighter. I've not heard him being this cautious about anyone else. And he's got reason to be cautious. This is good, though, because it shows that he's truly taking the fight seriously. Julia said he's anxious. Tank in a statement. Oh, okay. And you know what? That very well could be, because it is a fight that can go either way. This fight really is put up or shut up. For so long, Tank has been claimed to be the best at 135, though most of the people that he fought were either coming up from a lower weight class or they were coming down from a higher weight class, like in this situation where Tank has an advantage because he's fighting at his natural or normal weight. So this is not the first time that these things have happened, even though Tank has fought at 140 before. He's not fighting this one at 140. And he said, well, I have to weigh in as well, so it's keeping it the same on both ends. So I think that does make it a bit more fair. He's not able to rehydrate higher than 10 pounds over, just like Ryan can't rehydrate more than 10 pounds over. So there's a bit of fairness there. But the level of caution that he's taking going into it, the admitted level of caution, that actually makes me more excited about it, because to me, it sounds like he doesn't have the same bravado that he portrays in other fights. Though he's been saying, I got it. I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna smash him. I'm gonna this. I'm gonna that. Some of the stuff that he said has been kind of odd, though. He said he's gonna take him into deep waters and drown him. He's fought. He being Garcia, he's fought 12 rounds before. That's not anything new.
Ryan stated that. He's one of the things he said about that statement. He said, listen, I can swim. I've been in those deep waters before and I'm ready. So
yeah, and what really stands out to me regarding that statement specifically is You're saying you're going to take him into these deep waters. To take him into deep waters when he's already fought 12 rounds means you're going to push the pace, which is not how he fights. He is a counterpuncher. You know, he waits and has made his corner mad. I can hear him talking now, huh? You playing, huh? What you doing now, huh? Go on, take care of him now, huh? You hear me, huh? You know, salute to his trainer. But yeah, I mean, the fact that he's saying I'm going to take him into deep waters and drown him, so that means you're going to push the pace, which is something that you don't do. How do you do that? Now, one thing I will say about Tank that definitely is a benefit to him, not that it's a slight against Ryan Garcia, because it's not, but we know that Tank can box. We saw that in his bout with Isaac Cruz. We saw that he can box. When his hand got hurt, he started boxing and boxed masterfully. Didn't know he had that in him. Thought that he was just a slugger, but he showed that he can do that. Now for King Rye on the other end, what this will do is show that, you know, without a shadow of a doubt, you can't call me a crossover fighter anymore. You can't keep saying I'm a social media influencer and that's how I got famous and and all this stuff. You're going to see me fight. Yeah, you may have said stuff about me and my mental health, you know, but I'm taking care of what I need to take care of, and I beat the man who everybody has proclaimed to be the man, even though he doesn't hold a full belt. I mean, this is like the Intercontinental. We're going to your wonderful world of wrestling. This is like somebody who's an Intercontinental champion talking about some I'm the best in the world. It's like you don't hold the whole belt.
No, that's not the truth, because the Intercontinental title is the workhorse title.
Okay, but you don't hold the real belt.
The greatest champions ever have been Intercontinental champions.
Okay.
You keep crying my sport voice.
Okay, the greatest the greatest Intercontinental champion was who? Man shaking the ropes.
You got he was not. You got Bret Hart. You got Stone Cold Steve Austin.
But they weren't known for being that. They were known for being they were known, and this is from a casual now. They're known for holding the world title, not the Intercontinental.
But that's why you're a casual, because the Intercontinental title has always been the springboard. It's the workhorse title.
Right. But the casual is what matters most.
The casuals don't matter, sir, because
they do, because they're the ones who bring the money. Anyway, back to boxing.
I took you in a deep waters voice and you didn't last.
We're going way too deep into something that has nothing to do with the price of tea in China.
Let me pull you back to shore where you're safe. This is a big fight, whether we want to admit it or not.
Oh yeah,
I think the big question I want to ask you, and it's really detailed before we wrap up, what does a win or loss do for both of these fighters? Like what happens? Because ultimately they've both been questioned by others within their division about their credibility and what they can do. After this fight, somebody's career could potentially plummet, or maybe it could not. But I want to get your thoughts on, where do both fighters go with a win or a loss for either one of
them? Great question. Yeah, timeless. That's why I said let's move off of pro wrestling.
Ty, he don't know.
It's not professional, and or it is professional. Let me take that back. It's not a sport, and
we're by the same company.
Okay, it's not a sport. They also own a bunch of different media stuff too. So anyway, let's stay on topic, which is who does what, or I should say who has the most to gain with a win. I feel as if Tank has the most to lose if he does not win, because of how well manicured his career has been. The reason why he's not with Mayweather Promotions is because people are saying, fight somebody, fight somebody, fight somebody. And we kept getting Rolly Delgado. we got Pitbull Cruz. And let me say this about these two fighters. And I'm not taking anything away from them, but Tank made them in a loss. Tank has never faced anyone really with a name where he's not been in the favorable position. We talk about, Clarissa Shields talked about Mario Barrios. I'm sure he was coming up when he fought that fight. Leo Santa Cruz, I know he came up in order to fight that fight. Now you've got Ryan Garcia coming down in weight, where Ryan hasn't had the stiffest of competition either, but his way hasn't been as well manicured either. And I still say that bout where he retired Luke Campbell is the greatest name amongst all of them as far as fighting someone in the proper weight class.
Okay.
Tank has made people famous. The people that he's fought haven't really brought much to the table, where Ryan is definitely bringing a lot to the table. And because people have called him a social media whatever, if he loses, it doesn't hurt as bad. It just means that this guy was better than you. Whereas if Tank loses to this social media guy in a fight where he's actually fighting someone bigger and of a level of skill that people have respect for, it's only going to further the narrative of, you ain't fought nobody, man. The minute you fought somebody, you lost.
It's like the Drake Meek Mill rap battle. Meek Mill was the battle rapper. Drake had no credibility. Drake comes in, if he wins, that's it. That makes complete sense, especially from Garcia's standpoint of everyone just believing that he's social media. A win over Tank Davis, no matter how minuscule people try to say Davis's wins are, it's still something significant, and it sets precedent moving forward in that lightweight division. Appreciate you, Voice. That literally is your Combat Sports Weekend. Now, I know, Voice, you wanted to actually share a couple of other bouts that you wanted people to make sure they pay attention to this weekend. Tell us what else we should be looking forward to.
All right, so what else we have going on this weekend is we've got one championship in effect. They'll be fighting over in Thailand, where they normally do their thing. It's a lot of kickboxing and Muay Thai and stuff on this card. Not very much MMA, but it's happening. It's on Friday. If you're not doing anything, you got two TVs like your man, The Voice. Have one on one TV, at a basketball game on the other, and have yourself an absolutely fantastic time. On Saturday, coming from overseas, you got Rakhimov fighting Cordina on the zone. That should be a good bout too. That is a bout for IBF super featherweight title. So we'll see how that goes. But another something to keep your eye on over this weekend of big fights.
Awesome. Thank you, Voice, for getting us prepared for another amazing weekend of combat sports. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in with us every Tuesday, 7:15 Eastern Standard Time. It's Smoke O'Clock here on the main card. Me, your man, Wilders, The Voice. Make sure you follow The Voice on Twitter so that you can follow along. He scores a lot of these bouts as they're going along, and he gives some great, sometimes out-of-pocket commentary that you definitely don't want to miss. If you haven't, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. MTMVPN.com. Please make sure that you visit the website. Show us some love. We got some great articles on there. Get to know the team. Get yourself some merch. Voice has a shirt out there. Voice is big time. I ain't got no shirt. You know what I'm saying? I ain't big time yet.
It's coming. The Smoke O'Clock shirt is coming.
Right. I got the rub from Voice Leroy over here, so my shirt gonna be coming soon.
Smooth skin and Smoke O'Clock.
There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching and tuning in with this. Voice, please take us out.
Until next time, fight the good fight.